Let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Youth Ministry Garage, episode 215.
Not technically, 214. That counts as an edit. Doug is now responsible for an edit of the show.
Yeah, I just announced the wrong one. We started over. So Doug Fields here, Josh Griffin, Matt McGill. We're missing the queen, the star of the show, the only one that has true insight that doesn't put us down all that much.
That's true.
Actually, she puts you down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she's ever put me down.
Yeah.
She's so kind.
So sweet.
Yeah, we
Ivory Tower.
We were gonna put Seth there, but here's the problem. The problem was Seth was so good in our last episode that Matt felt a little intimidated.
Very threatened.
And so Matt said, he called me on the way over here and said, "Can we not?"
That's fair.
Put Seth in here.
So we'll save the spot for
Seth is in his executive producer seat right over there. Seth, you were outstanding.
Spring break, having a good time. Matt's got his summer look going already, which is just keep it casual, bro. Keep it casual.
Yeah. Do you want to explain to the team why you were gone for the last show?
Last week.
I have no idea what I was doing.
You were at an elders meeting.
Oh yeah. We had an elders meeting at 5:15 last.
It's very meaningful, apparently.
Yeah.
How's the new? You know what? I had the elders meeting. Can I just tell you my funnest part of reading this week's emails was everybody talking about Matt getting canned.
So it's made it to my Facebook page.
Are you serious?
Like, hey, sorry you got fired.
Oh.
Which there's only been, I think, 2 comments.
That's funny though. I might add one.
Go for it. Go for it.
But I want to let you know your question gets to the top of the pile.
Absolutely.
If you add something about Matt getting canned or fired.
Getting to the top of Doug's elaborate filing system is difficult. So thank you for trying.
Yes.
All right.
No, Jesus isn't at the top.
Youth Ministry Garage, sponsored by Youth Specialty, powered by our fabulous sponsors:
Azusa,
Leader Trex, Remedy Live, Azusa Pacific, and Youth Ministry 360. We actually have some new stuff to give away from Leader Trex, which I'm very excited about. We'll do that in a little bit. Youth Specialties, as in continuing their 13 city tour of the Unconference. Go to ysunconference.com. It's free. And they've been having great success with that. Josh talked about him going to one that was in Southern California.
Got a follow-up email from one of the guys today just saying, hey, we talked about da-da-da-da. Can you share some stuff? It was cool. Good dude.
It was great.
That's great. That's great. Speaking of share some stuff, we're also inviting people to join us to come to the FAM conference, and for only $19, they get the weekend with us. That we're going to hang out with them. Saturday night, we're visiting Saddleback and then talking about it. Then Sunday we're visiting Mariners. I should probably put it myself.
Mariners.
And then we're going to talk about it. Then we're going to come over to my house and we're going to shoot an episode of The Garage, have a dessert, and boot people out.
Love it. You're going to sit right there.
Beautiful.
And where is the, Seth, where is the...
Just go to youthministrygarage.com and click on the events tab.
Youthministry.com, click on the events tab.
There's an events tab up there.
There is. I just checked it the other day because I was like, what?
We got events?
I
was just looking at the wall.
We have a garage event.
And there you go.
Do you think I think it's been a year and a half, pushing 2 years for the garage, right?
Or coming up in 2 years.
Coming up in 2 years. We need a new look.
Yeah, a year and a half.
It's time. Need a new look. Should we talk to Remedy Live about that? Should we call our buddy Clint?
Clifton?
Clifton?
Yeah.
So thanks to our awesome sponsors, buy their stuff. Here we go. I'm co-host, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Brent Durnell from Cincinnati, Ohio. I just want to write and share that I'm a new rewinder. I just caught up last week.
Way to go, bud.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if we need something on our site, Seth, and if you'd write stuff down, that'd be great. Do you need to borrow a pen? Like a slang vocabulary. We need a page of slang.
Oh, I like that.
Kind of our own urban dictionary.
Yeah.
I like it. I was thinking of like
Do you think Jerry Varner would do it for us?
He would. He totally would.
Yeah, Jerry Varner is...
He could have his own entry.
He could. He answers so many questions on the community blog, and I love that. Every time I just go, thank you, Jesus, for him. I do.
That's great.
Yeah. Just like that. Thank
Honorable mention goes to Jerry Varner. Done.
So Brent is a new rewinder, just caught up last week. Thank you all for being there, for helping me feel like a part of the bigger youth ministry world. It's so nice to know I'm not alone in the stress and questions I'm left facing in youth ministry. You all have inspired me on a number of occasions, and I'm a leader of a network called One in Cincinnati, Ohio.
It's just him.
Opposite of Legion.
Draw a circle, get in it. That's your network.
All right. And just to remind everybody, if you're part of a network, let us know. We
Please
talked
do.
about it the other night at Denny's.
We
See,
did.
every Monday night, we have a little...
Get together.
We call it our
hang out.
Download Youth Ministry
Every
staff
other Monday.
meeting.
It's not really every
Well, it's
Monday, is it?
every-
I bring the coupons, and you guys bring your appetites, and we talk about Download Youth Ministry stuff.
That's
It's
right.
fun.
And we talked about a road tour based
Yes.
on the networks.
I'm in.
And we're going to get in a motorhome. What do you think, Matt?
Let me
As long
Do
as
they
it has
allow
one
you
of
to
those-
fly?
let me speak for Katie. She's in. I don't know.
There's no way Katie's going on a road trip.
I just committed her. She's
Katie
done.
would go on a road trip.
I think so.
I don't know.
Around Orange County.
Oh, it depends on the food. The food would make a big difference. A
Well,
good quality.
If Ron would come on the food trip, her husband.
On the food trip?
It's no longer a podcast tour. It's a food
Didn't
trip.
you say go to different food places?
I'm in. I'm
did
in.
you say that?
I'm in with you right now.
We're gonna go to different networks.
No, I heard networks, and then
I
someone
heard
said
barbecues. When
she
you
would
said
come.
networks,
It would depend on the food that we were eating.
No, I said a road trip around.
You
Houston.
actually look a little embarrassed right now. Are you
Yeah.
embarrassed?
Yeah.
Well,
Are
I
you
remember-
tired?
I'm very
Are you off
tired.
your game?
Oh.
I'm very
Are
tired.
you still? Are you? Do you and Seth
I
want to
need one
switch
of these.
places?
I need one of these.
Let me just tell you right now. I know this has been hard on you. I'm sorry you got canned.
All right.
No,
This one I actually was going to do last week, Matt.
Oh,
I put
here we go.
save for Matt.
Oh wow!
right.
Better not be tired for this one.
Wow.
You need me to slap you in the face like
Yeah,
an MMA
please
fighter
don't.
right before you get going?
Wake up. Wake up. You got this.
Ugh.
This
All right.
is your question, dude.
Hey everyone, please don't read my name. I only recently discovered your podcast and has made my long driving trips far more enjoyable than before. I am a youth ministry rookie, 7 months, and I've fallen in love with the vocation. I'm in a situation where I love where I'm at, but I feel like God may be calling me to something else, in particular somewhere else. So I'm contemplating leaving the church I grew up in and that eventually hired me as a youth pastor. This is a very tough decision for me, so I'm wondering this. What sort of discernment process have you used in deciding whether to stay where you're at or to move on to another location? Thanks for everything you do. P.S. Matt, sorry you got canned.
Sorry, you got killed. Well, that's one way you know you've left.
There you go.
That makes it discernment.
There is no discernment process on your
that
part.
takes the D out of discernment right there.
Yeah.
Don't know what that means.
All right.
It seems like we've returned to this like every 2 months. I mean, this is a pretty common question. I think that there are discerning where it is that you're called. I think that honestly, there's a ton of factors that go in. There's no formula that gives you the answer. At the end of the day, it's still going to be a difficult decision, and depending on what stage of life you're at and what's going on, I mean, it could be incredibly difficult. I think the first thing for discernment is with where you're supposed to be at. It's the cliche, but you have to be walking right with God. I mean, I think it's impossible.
I don't think that's cliche, man. We think it's cliche.
Yeah, and I think as pastors, it's
the right answer. So
it's
it
the
feels.
quick right answer, but it's the kind of thing where when you go to bed at night and you close your eyes, you're not holding on to some kind of shame or some kind of secret or some kind of guilt. And I mean, obviously there's seasons where and there's bad days and stuff like that, but that's the first thing I think to really think about. I mean, I think that you can't make decisions like that if you're not keeping in step with the Spirit and just focus like that. Whatever it is that you do to grow in your faith, like whatever it is, your little system, which I hate to use the word system, but whatever that is, you got to be working that for a significant amount of time. So if you're off your game, you got to get back on your game. I think the other thing is, I think your level of peace versus discontent is really important to monitor. I think just because you're discontented at a place, that doesn't mean it's necessarily time to go. Josh has a story where he was discontented for, I want to say 7 years.
A long time.
Yeah, it was a long time at one of your churches that you were at. And sometimes God is calling us to stay in that. But you need to know what it is you're content, what it is that's taking your peace away, so you can examine that. Is it your own pride, your own selfishness, your own issue, or is there something about the vision of the church? Well, even if there is something really bad about the vision of the church and the senior pastor, doesn't believe in evangelism or something like that, that really, even if you don't match up with the vision, you still might be called to stay and stick it out and to be a light and to show. I mean, we've known a lot of guys through the years that have stuck at their churches feeling like they were having upward influence and stuff like that. But I think your faith is on track. I think paying attention to your heart. I think part of it also is your gifting. Like, are you doing what you're good at and what you like to do? If you are, 2% if you're at a church and 2% of your job is youth ministry and the other 98% is tech guy and closet cleaner, nothing wrong with being a tech guy and the closet cleaner. That there's nothing and no sarcasm. That is fine. But if your heart and your passion is to do youth ministry, but you don't get to do it, well, then it probably is time for you to move, to be at a spot where you can express the gifting that God has placed on your heart. Voices of others is way important. I mean, it is so important to be in community and to have your friends saying, either agreeing with stuff that you say or disagreeing with what you're saying, and they're praying for discernment, and ultimately the decision will fall on you. Ultimately it will be a difficult decision. You can come up with pros and cons and check boxes and flow charts. If you like those things, you can pile up all your feelings and emotions if that's the type of person you are, but at the end of the day you will have to make that decision on your own. And it's tough.
Yeah. When I left Saddleback, I woke up the other day thinking it's been over 3 years, which is just amazing how that has flown by so fast.
That's a long time.
But I can remember doing the voice of others with some people, and they're like, yeah, no, that makes sense. But I didn't feel released.
Right.
I just knew there was some stirring going on, but it wasn't time. It didn't feel released. Whatever. I don't really. I'd have to visit my journal to remember the feelings behind that, but it didn't feel released. Even though those outside voices were, sure sounds.
And the discontent was there.
Yeah, that seasonal, seasonal discontent. Like when you said Josh 7 years, I don't think Josh was discontent for 7 years. But
maybe
over that time you were at your church 7 years, there was definitely this
ups and downs, and some seasons of downs and downs.
Yeah. So all I'm doing is putting an exclamation mark on. At the end of the day, the voice of others and the reasoning and all that stuff, but you still have to be in touch with. I'm just not sure this is the right move.
Well, and I think people look at their circumstances or a set of situations that happen and use that as indication that it's time to go. And I would say be careful of that. Circumstances aren't enough, because I can always build a case why I should leave or I should move on, or this church doesn't understand me or get me, or I'm not part of their vision. I can always build that case at any moment, even when things are good. So I think you have to be really careful to go, well, these 4 things happened and finally the straw that broke the camel's back and you're out. I think, circumstances, good, bad, and ugly, are going to happen all the time. So there's a calling, there's a releasing, there's an obvious hand of God that has to be moving, and if it's not, don't let circumstances pretend to be the voice of God.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a decision that you make, and we all make decisions on different criteria, which is important. But at the end of the day, you will be able to make an argument for staying or going. And so that feeling is important. And I think the lion's share of maturity when it comes to discernment is living with the decision afterwards. That hey, this is what I decided. I made a decision with all the information I had. With this is what I feel God's calling me. So I'm going to go. And now the next place that you go, it's up to you to be contented to make it work. And
let's throw out one other thing. I know we're trying to wrap it up on this one, but our society doesn't reward people who stay. They don't reward people who stay at a youth group of 20 students for 15 years. Our culture pushes everyone to have a bigger platform, speak to more students, get to a mega church, go, get.
Yeah.
And maybe that is not the end game that God has for you. And I would say, serve wherever you are. Serve like you're going to be there the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Serve there passionately. If God opened the doors and makes it clear, great. But I think society is pushing you.
There. Don't stay there if you shouldn't stay there.
For sure. We're giving a lot of non-answers to this guy's
There's no way.
question.
Every time we talk about this, there's no way to answer it and go, here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just good. I think the reason I keep bringing them back is I think many of our team is going through seasons of discontent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we're communicating to a parade of youth workers who sometimes they listen, they're totally, man, I'm on a high. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Yeah. And other times they're going, oh, I got
an email from a youth worker that said unexpectedly I'm in transition right now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
you kind of become the poster child of transition, haven't you?
Seriously.
Transition is a nice way of saying you got canned.
This is from Stephen Kelso, Kansas City, Missouri. Hey, Youth Ministry Garage. Sorry your position was eliminated, Matt.
Oh.
I could really use some wise counsel. I'm struggling to stay motivated. I feel especially called to youth ministry and to the church I'm at. I know I'm where I need to be, but I'm just struggling. I don't feel spiritually strong. I don't feel like I'm being the quote-unquote best youth pastor I can be. I went to a recent conference and met all sorts of awesome youth pastors who seem so driven. That's good.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to figure out how to get some of that drive energy. All I seem to find are more barriers. I'm lazy. I don't want to be. Any suggestions, any jumping off points you could give me?
Oh, I love it.
Bridge.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah, you don't see very many people admitting they're lazy.
I was gonna say, wow.
Especially to the hardest working youth pastor, Josh Griffin.
I am so lazy. No, I'm actually going to go swimming in a little while. I'm excited about that. Here's the thing. Bite off more than you can chew. Bite off more than your ability tells you that you can do. Promise more than you can deliver. Depend on God's Spirit. Push yourself. I would say, if you're lazy, put yourself in a position where you cannot be. Force your hand. And if you fail, then...
But if he's got... but that's tough. Because if he's in a place where his supervisor, or... Did you not say his name?
No, I did. Steven.
Might not have expectations for him.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, then you're not lazy. You're doing a great job.
You're meeting those expectations.
Yeah, I know your supervisor's too busy and doesn't know what's going on.
You know what? There's been times in my seasons, 11 years in one church, 18 in another, where I felt I just wasn't motivated.
Right.
I think there's a piece of that.
Usually after your meetings with me.
That's when I felt like I wanted to drink.
I should fire Matt, but I don't want to carry that around his whole life.
It would be the beginning of so many of those. I just didn't want to be your first fire.
That's a tough cross to bear, man. Yeah. I get it.
But here's for me what it is. What kept me motivated is I just like change anyway. So I would change things up. I would go, hey, I haven't been doing this. I want to now do this. I haven't been running that in 3 years. I want to run that. I want to surround myself with a different set of people who can help me pull off this. And so I had to just kind of continually reinvent what I want to do every once in a while. Yeah. I had midlife crisis at 22.
But the monotony of every year in October we do the same event every year can go. My wife even said that to me this week. She said, "How many Pumpkin Fests are you going to do before you are done doing Pumpkin Fest?" And I was like,
1 million.
She reads my mind. Like, I want to get rid of Pumpkin Fest, and it has crushed every year. It's been a huge outreach event for us, and I am done. I want to try something new.
Yeah.
Just because the monotony, I'm stuck, it's the routine. So much the same way my answer is go after something new.
Yeah, but on something like that, I would also
just
say...
have somebody else run it.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Don't show up. Let's play Xbox that night.
I'm back in. I'm unstuck.
See how easy that is?
Community guys,
Steve, right? Just listen to the show more often. Hey, come join us on May. I don't even know what the days are.
18th. There it is.
Stephen, is this a pattern? If you and I were sitting next to each other, I would say, is this a pattern you've had your whole life, or is this something that's been a season over the last 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, or something like that? Because that's important to know. If you're trying to, if you're trying to be somebody you're not, that's a difficult thing.
Totally. And a good healthy pace is not bad.
Right.
None of us sprint all the time. I actually don't sprint.
Yeah.
But it really,
Couch to the refrigerator.
this is a
They
marathon.
made a combine out of the couch to the refrigerator.
A combine.
It's 40 seconds.
Nicely done. I like that. That was good.
I'm just saying, maybe you're characterizing it as lazy when you compare it to these impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's where Matt made the comment
It's a
about
good-
seem.
it's a
It
good
seems
word.
like they've got energy, and we talk about this.
Instead,
Tom,
they're
when you
just totally insecure. They can't handle.
well,
you
you don't make that blanket
But
statement.
if you see me in
right?
conference mode, I am like the bam, go.
Yeah.
But I took off this whole week and did nothing. It was just with my kids and spring break and enjoy. I'm not apologizing for being lazy this week.
Yeah.
I built that into my. But I'm also going to be pretty driven later.
Yeah.
So I think don't worry.
Well, and
I
also
don't know.
don't compare, because when you're
Yes.
comparing those people at other conferences and things like that, you're just assuming they're doing stuff that you're not doing.
Exactly.
You're assuming because they're either speaking there or walking fast or got some excitement, energy with some of their friends that they're great.
Or
youth
maybe
workers.
they're worried about appearances and they want to look great. I mean,
They don't wanna look
humanity
lazy.
never does that.
This question is from Heath Nelson. He says, I'm an intern at my home and I am loving it.
In my home.
At my home.
Church, maybe.
Maybe missed the word, but how would you like to be an intern? I'd like to
Hey,
get my kids to be an
I
intern.
report to my dad.
I was in charge of doing all the planning and organization for our yearly district conference. My question is, how cut and dry can I be about getting the money turned in, getting health forms, a list of who is going, not who say they would like to go, etc. Having deadlines of you need this, or you need that, or you can't go. To sum up, how harsh can one be with deadlines but not seem cold? Thanks to you all. Love the podcast. It's been a big help. P.S. Matt, sorry you got canned.
Thank you. Well, you have to have a clear, either you're in or you're out.
I'm not making these up.
I know.
That's funny. It's a funny bit.
You have to have a clear, your spot is not registered until you fill out the form and pay. You have to have, you have to know who's in and who's out, and they have to know they're in, they're out. I mean, saving spots without a deposit is, it's like offering somebody the greatest meal ever, but just not letting them eat it.
But what if they're
doesn't even
a
make sense.
great volunteer and they forgot to sign their daughter up and she wants to go? She goes
That's
every
the second
year,
question.
and she's awesome.
But that's the second part of the question.
What if it's the former youth pastor's daughter, who he is such a slack? I'm just making this up. Just,
Lazy.
just
Unmotivated.
She's a
sitting
senior.
on
She
his
didn't
couch.
sign herself up.
He's pulling out.
I'm throwing out a bit. I'm throwing out a funny bit.
Not that funny. It's pretty good.
But the second thing is this: is that honestly, I mean, you're in ministry because you want to serve people, and you're in ministry and you want to serve people as well as you can. Therefore, your ability to plan and administrate, two cuss words around this table, your ability to do those two things will determine where you can put your cutoff date.
Right.
And I think that if it starts on Tuesday and you can make the cutoff date on Monday, you make the cutoff date on Monday. If you can make it Tuesday 3 minutes before the event, I realize that there's, depending on what's going on, it's tough. For
Another
every
van.
kid, you have
Now we have to have
get them a shirt, assign them a group, put them into a van. Do I have capacity in vans? And put them into this room, and are they in the yellow group or the
Right, I'm on wristbands.
It's difficult to add somebody to a camp. Don't get me wrong, but the more prepared you are, the better you do your administration.
The more prepared you are, the more flexible you can be?
That's the short answer.
God, that's the title of the show right there.
That is a
That's
really
serious.
good answer, Matt. Way to go.
Well,
Destroyed it.
Here's the deal. I've been in situations where, classic Fields mistake is planning a winter camp right after Christmas. So it's not full before you go to Christmas. Now you're doing everything you can to try to fill that thing up during Christmas. Christmas Eve, you're like calling parents, hey, do you have a stocking stuffer scholarship for your kid? You're working that, and if you said to the camp or whatever, we're going to bring X number of people, and you're short X number of people, you're in trouble. Your budget's in trouble. You're in trouble. You're going to look bad. So you're scrambling. So if people are like, hey, I think I'm going to come, I'm making a list of people who I think I'm going to come. Now, the flip side of that would be, with a little more wisdom, is to say, if I have X number of kids in my group, what do I think I can take to camp? I'm going to take less than I think, and I'm going to order that many spots, and I'm going to sell those babies out.
And if you sell it out, it helps create buzz.
Once you sell out one camp or one event or one, hey, we just can't take anymore, then all of a sudden you've created an environment where people are going, man, you got to sign up for camp. Now, what the kids don't know is it's a lot easier to get a couple extra spots at that camp, because there's probably flakier youth groups that are going to be relieving spots. Camps are not very forgiving when you sign up for X and you don't pay for X. So I'd go less. I'd sell the thing out. I'd create that buzz. But it is, having done youth ministry most of my life, there was a season where I did college ministry as a part of my youth ministry for about a year. And I thought, these guys they're older, they're more responsible. They were worse.
They're worse. It's weird. College students are worse.
Now you got adults who are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Seth and I are doing this date night thing in our church in 8 days. People will sign up 3 minutes before the event because we allow them to. Because we allow them to. So I think you can be
okay with that.
I think you can be harsh and you can be grace-filled. And so here's the harsh part. We only have X number of spots. Your money needs to be in, and boy, I would sure love to take you. And oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'll see if we can find an extra spot. But remember the last 2 months we've been saying, all you gotta do is one time sell that baby out. And
so
It is one of the most difficult things, though, to have a student or their parents look you in the eyes and say, we have the money for camp, we're ready to go, we just heard about it, and especially if they're new to the church, or they haven't been in that big marketing window that you've been promoting it incessantly and all that. So it's a tough, one of the things that we are trying.
And by the way, let me pause you just for save the one where I want to say to the youth workers, keep track of when you promoted it.
Yeah, that's a good word.
You should have a solid promotion plan.
Well, it was in so if parent does come up to you, we're just hearing about it. Oh, I am so sorry you're just hearing about it.
Listen here.
But McGee, Bill Weed. We have promoted here. We've these texts, these emails.
Those are some of my favorite conversations. Oh, we announced it every week for the last 6 weeks in junior high. This was to a staff person at Mariners, and they're like, "Oh, our kid doesn't go to the junior high ministry." What do you want us to do?
Okay, go back to your
one thing that we're going to try this year is we have a deadline for camp, and then because of the increased work and expense of adding a kid after the deadline, we'll raise the price after the deadline. So you can still get in.
Sure.
If we haven't sold it out, you can still get in up until the day we leave. But you're going to pay a premium of whatever, $20, because all the T-shirts are now gone. So now we've got to reorder a T-shirt or whatever as an example. So every conference in the world does it. There's a reason why they're trying to drive registrations to the event.
To the point of planning, you can be. Did I cut you off?
No.
You just looked over like I cut you off.
I was laughing at their inside joke. Go.
Perfect. But, it's a week before the event, and it's sold out, and you've got everything lined and all your spreadsheet and your clipboard looks nice. You can take 20 minutes, 40 minutes to go. If I added a kid, they would go here. If I added a person, I would need to do these 4 things and be ready to move. You could be ready to respond.
Yeah, I want to sound tough with this, but we've all done ministry long enough together that I wound up taking everybody.
I was just going to say, it's a lot easier to talk tougher than it is.
Sure. But that's
why you have
points
deadlines.
Of having deadlines and stuff like that. Doug, please do not read my name. Hey, Matt, I'm sorry that you got canned. Many of us garage dwellers have learned so much from this transition in your life. Thank you for sharing it with the team.
Aww.
It's all to you, Matt.
I like the word garage dwellers. That's fun.
So now the question. I've been in my church for 2 years. My senior pastor has a great heart and great intentions. We constantly talk about great ideas to move the church forward, but we never do them.
She's just so pretty on the inside.
All of these great intentions stay as intentions. I'm young enough to be my senior pastor's son, so there's a disconnect, but how do I lead up to help the church go forward? Thanks for all the advice you give. You know what I'm wondering? I mean, one, we can answer this.
Tell us what you're
Or we could save it. Just hit me, because your senior pastor is a good buddy of mine.
Yes.
I hired him many, many, many years ago. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be fun to bring him on the...
Oh, he'd love to be here.
On the show.
He's like, I want to. A couple of weeks ago, he's like,
cool.
oh, I should come watch you guys shoot it.
Why don't we do a whole senior pastor show?
That's a great idea.
I love it. I'll text him right now. It's Julie's birthday today.
You don't have to text him now.
Who's Julie?
His wife.
Okay.
So let's save this for the senior
else
pastor
would
show.
that
Put it in the dictionary, please.
He says don't read my name,
inside the
so
dictionary.
Yeah.
we can't.
We can't read
Let's
it.
do a senior. Okay, here's the deal.
That's a great idea.
Here's the deal.
Senior pastor show.
Send in questions. We'll have Matt's senior pastor on the show. We'll call it the senior pastor
Great
show.
idea.
Be fun. He's
Zach,
great.
Your senior pastor come.
We could have my senior pastor come. He's got experience of being a senior pastor
My senior pastor?
for
I think Mike can make it.
Dude, our dub?
It'd be awesome.
Our dub would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
it would be. He would come.
I'll text him. That counts him.
Oh my gosh.
I've got his number.
I've got.
The short answer to the you want to actually tackle some of that or no? Just let it go.
No, we'll just let it go.
Oh, really? All right.
You want to go ahead? Give the short
it's
answer.
fine.
Come, give the short answer.
I would just say.
No. Let's
I can
just
give the
say
short answer. We won't talk. You and I won't talk.
I would just say if the senior pastor is talking things over with you and never acting on them, either A, is just good discussion and it's helping them more than you'll ever know, or B, it's...
Were you? So that
if
is?
you're watching the audio version, Doug just fell asleep.
If you're watching the audio version.
All right, screw it.
Wow. You get a little bit of heat, you melt. What's going on here?
I'm just an M&M.
You're just.
He's kind of turned red. He's a little embarrassed. It's the problem. We know each other way too well. No, I was just doing
go
that
on.
because you were just going to give the short answer, and it wasn't. It was moving to non-short. So
I was totally
okay.
there.
I'm going to go
I
ahead
don't
and take
believe in
a
short
little-
answers.
All right, go on to the next question.
Miguel.
I see you ever get shut down like that.
I stood in front of a monitor on Easter weekend because I was speaking. I was like right in front of the monitor,
Oh,
and it was not the monitor, the woofer or whatever the one is on
Subwoofer?
stage.
Yep.
It was so loud, and that
So you get old.
damaged me more just now.
Inner ear.
Yeah,
I just
Doug
wanna
feels
really-
the
I
youth
touch it
guy
with deep
complaining
place.
about the loudness of music.
Yeah.
Wow. Seniors ministry. Here
No,
we
it
go.
wasn't. It wasn't. I was complaining
How long
about the
have you been
loudness
youth
of that
ministry?
shriek.
Until that settled.
Purpose-driven seniors.
First River Seniors, new book from
PBS.
Now you know it'll be longevity in youth ministry when a 50-year-old's walking around with a hearing aid, which is coming up.
No.
You got a hearing aid coming?
My hearing is so bad.
I know, it's been badgered the whole life, really.
No, it has been bad my whole life.
I think you got cancer in your ear.
Oh boy.
Oh,
we can't do this again.
Is that skin cancer?
Yeah, I think
Where?
so.
You think
it
so?
just popped up. Look at
That's
that.
not skin cancer, dude.
That's something.
No,
That's
it's
not
just
good.
it's a blood vessel. That's all.
not
At
a-
your age, you get
no.
liver spots.
I mean, that just like popped up like, hello.
Hi, you.
Yeah.
Well, we could
Let's
we
put
could
that
call
on
this show
Instagram,
WebMD if we keep talking like this.
All right.
But what the show,
Okay.
the insider is that you have such a skin cancer phobia. It's unbelievable.
It's all
Cancer
phobia, though.
phobia,
It's just
yeah.
everything, every communicable disease phobia.
Yeah. No, it's mostly cancer phobia. Joel Higginbotham.
Wow.
What a great
That is
name.
a
Fantastic.
mouthful.
Higginbotham.
Cancer.
Marion, Indiana. First off, Matt, sorry you got canned.
Thank you.
I am getting ready to move to a new church for youth ministry. I've been a part-time youth minister for the past 4.5 years and moving into a full-time ministry
Awesome.
position. My question is this. What questions or conversations should I have as I enter into this new ministry in order to avoid some of the common pitfalls of new ministers? Who should I make it a point to connect with first? Thanks for your ministry. Well, we don't know the size of the ministry, Joel, so if it's small, I would say you connect with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, go in and just, man, here is my deal. When I started Saddleback in '92, there was 35 high school kids, and I had come from a much bigger ministry than that. So I said, I want to get to know every one of you. And here's my deal. You tell me your name, and if I write it on my hand and I forget it, next week I will buy you a burrito. We were right across from Taco Bell. I will buy you a burrito after church. And so, forgetting names didn't cost me much money to do that. And it also gave me that relation time. But, I got to know everybody in the ministry as quick as I could, the volunteers. I just was not about the programs. I didn't come in and just make sweeping program changes right away. I just came in and got to know people and kids and volunteers. And, I'd start there, ask questions. What do you like? What do you not like? Not that you're trying to just figure out how to entertain them, but where are you growing spiritually? Sure. What do you think youth ministry is all about? Why do you come to church? Where do you fit with Jesus? I'd come up with 8 questions and just call it. I want to take everybody through my 8-question challenge. I just want 8
questions to talk about. I like it.
Whatever.
It's fun. Was this specifically about the hiring process, or is it?
No. He's already got the job. It's what do you?
Great.
Yeah. Who do you talk to? Who do you talk to at the church? I get to what you just described is what I get to do right now.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't have to make big sweeping changes. I am meeting people and hanging out and getting to know stories, and there's really cool stuff I'm assessing. And my senior pastor and I have had a ton of conversations about well, it could be like this, and what about that, and gee, don't you think, and just like that, gee, don't you think, what is that?
1950.
But thank you, that's what it is. Back before Doug had any ailments.
Oh, exactly.
But I'm keeping a list. I'm keeping a list of stuff that, hey, this ought to change.
Yeah.
I don't know when the time will be right, but this and this and this and this, and that kind of helps for me. That helps me be in a new situation, excited about change, not complacent about change, but at the same time not charging right at it and doing it come hell or high water. And it's been great.
Well, you only have fresh eyes for a short amount of time.
You only have fresh eyes.
So after a certain time, whoever knows when that is, 1 month, 8 months, 2 years, 3 years, who knows? You don't see things new anymore, and so all of a sudden you become such a part of the fabric and the culture and the landscape that you don't see things.
I'd be really careful with the people that approach you right away.
Yes.
Because chances are there's some people with an axe to grind.
Yes. I had my third weekend. I had 2 people.
Let him finish.
No, I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
Remember how when Seth was here last week, we just were able to share our thoughts without being interrupted?
Yeah.
That was nice.
No. But I think people that gravitate towards you right away when you land, be careful.
Yeah.
Because usually they have an agenda. Sometimes it's really good, helpful, like, hey, let me help you. But oftentimes it is a total sandbag with, hey, the last guy, finally he's gone, so glad you're here. Let me tell you everything's wrong with him.
Yes.
You can be perceived as unsupportive and divisive.
Well, and you think they're supporting you.
Exactly.
They're not supporting you.
And
They're
actually
supporting their agenda.
They're supporting their agenda.
And they're undermining you, and they will undermine you as you leave because of frustration with them too. So I would just say, look out for the first people that actively find you.
Yeah, my first weekend at the church, which came after an elder meeting. So I had 1 week in the office where we had an elder meeting, and I saw 2 people, met them, and they were involved in an issue. And I go, oh yeah, you guys are the ones we were talking about, blah blah blah, and it wasn't any secret. They're like, oh, how did that conversation go? And so I live my life like I'm on the podcast. I laughed at them. And I said, oh, are you? No, well, yeah. And I said, are you guys trying to pimp me for information? Wait, go talk to, and then, the senior pastor and the chairman of the board. I go, give me a break. It was nice and all. I don't think, But anyhow, what I want to add to what you said.
Have you started your coaching network on how to be honest, how to be an honest leader in a dishonest world?
I buy that book.
You'd buy that book.
I put that on my Kindle.
And did you say and not read it?
I'd never read it.
That's right. Only if you had a good cover. But I would say this, is that I'm assessing people that I want to talk to people that can help move the church forward. And so at our Good Friday service, I had my second conversation with this one person. This one guy's a nice guy, young, loved the church, all this stuff. But it was about 30 minutes, and it was towards the end, just based on some things that he said. It wasn't bad or anything like that, but it just made me think, this guy's not going to help move the church forward.
Right.
And it wasn't like an 80-year-old that didn't. It was actually a young guy. But I just thought, and then I went and talked to the senior pastor and a couple other people, and I don't think so either. And so my point is that I'm not going to avoid that guy, but that person's not somebody that I want to seek out.
Right. Right.
So you want to spend time with as much people as possible, but you also want to be looking for who can help you move things forward.
Take everything with a grain of salt.
It's good.
While you're fact finding.
Good.
Yeah.
And read Your First 2 Years in Youth Ministry by Doug Fields. Even though you've been 4.5 years in a youth ministry position. Let's do this. Let's send it to this Joel Higginbotham for having the greatest name.
Yep.
You are a winner. Again, thanks for starting. First off, Matt, sorry you got canned. I love those.
Yes.
Here's what's happening.
I think we've
Leader
established.
Treks.
Yeah.
Leader Treks has come
to the
full
table.
steam with new product.
Yeah.
And what they've done is stuff that we're excited about. It's all preparing your mission, your team for mission. They have this leader's guide, passport, CD-ROM in the back, living mission beyond the trip. So this is after. And there is journals for kids, which, why spend time, like Matt, you and I spent a bunch of time making journals over the years for kids on a mission trip. If we had this, it'd have been easy just to do.
Yeah.
So you give kids a journal. Then when they get back, you give them a 4-week follow-up journal. From the mission trip to a life on mission.
It's almost as if you don't even need to form relationships with them.
Just hand them books. Go to Haiti.
You're an idiot.
That's funny, is that?
No, it's funny, yeah.
It's not mean. No one
You know what's funny? I remember creating from scratch my own mission trips journals when we would go on trips and stuff.
Yeah.
But I would look back even on my own notes in them, and those were huge shaping moments as a leader even.
Well,
So,
you know what? Tori,
Good
my daughter who's in Mexico right now, she texts Kathy and says, can you believe I'm driving across the border in driving a 13-passenger van or something like that? And Kathy went, of all 3 of our kids, we'd have never guessed that Tori would have gone into youth ministry.
Awesome.
But she's leading a trip to Haiti, and this is going to be great. Before the mission trip, on the mission trip, after the mission trip. Leader Treks.
Legit.
Well done.
That is an impressive.
Well done.
What was the connection between that and your daughter going on the trip?
That I'm going to give her this stuff.
Oh, awesome.
Okay,
And we're
Josh
also gonna
thinks
give some of them,
Josh
too.
thinks he's going to take it.
I really, especially this after the mission
You can
trip.
take one of each, just as a sample.
Because we went to
Photocopy and
Africa, and is there a CD-ROM in the back? No, there's not. We went to Africa. This would be a killer tool to put in their hands.
Perfect.
Love it.
So thank you, Leader Treks, for sending that, and also send it to Joel Higginbotham and Higginbotham. All right, gentlemen. Episode 215 in the can.
It's a good show.
Good without
Fun.
Katie, not great.
Not great.
Always good.
But-
Good. One of the things I thought about earlier is we could have done we need to do a show on friendship sometime, just like the importance of friendship in youth ministry.
All right.
Yeah, Josh, you and Seth couldn't be. You guys been going to the movies without texting me. So
In all fairness,
you guys can.
I know you have other
First
plans
cousin
when I
over
don't
there?
text you. I don't want to make you feel bad. You have to choose your friends, your other friends over your real friends. So I let it go. I think it's helpful.
What did he say?
I'll tell you later. It's painful. It took lots of time for prayer and forgiveness.
Hey guys, I'm teaching Easter. I'm slammed. I wish I could go to the movies. And I'm like, let's go to the movies.
And you included him on that?
No.
You just stuffed it right in his
No, I
face?
just heard from both of them that they went to the movies, and I was like, hey, thanks for the invite.
I knew you couldn't go, so I didn't go.
Thank you. That's real friendship.
I'm gonna penalize
Are we
myself.
out? Are we out?
Are we done?
Are we
Why were
done?
we laughing at?
You.
Love you guys.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Send in your questions.
Just taking a page out of
YouthMinistyGarage.com.
Griffin's book.
YouthMinistyGarage.com. Bye.